Good morning. This is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. PsychicTarot.ca, book your tarot reading and unlock your spiritual journey. And the Pepper Master, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. Well, good morning and hello, kids, and welcome to season 4 and episode number, I'm going to go take a look here, number 623 of the Daily Beaver Morning Show. 100% Canadian. Today, recording day is Friday, April 11th, 2025, and it is a gray and rainy day again here at the Beaver Lodge. Imagining Bugs Bunny there going, April showers may come your way. They bring the flowers that bloom in May.
Yeah, we have a dusting of snow right now.
So given the amount of rain and snow and water, I hope that there will be a lot of flowers in May. Because
so me, somebody who's allergic to everything in the environment, I don't give a shit.
You hope that. Yeah, you're good for that. I realized as I was saying it. So a big thank you goes to our podcast funding sponsors, the Pepper Master, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and PsychicTarot.Canada or .ca. In this case, Psychic Tarot Canada, PsychicTarot.ca. As you can tell, kids and cubs, well, maybe you can't tell, but maybe you can. I don't know. We got the background. I'm moving, and if I've been moving the entire time, then things have been fixed because I did change screens once already. That means we are now fully in 2025 technologically. We've arrived, kids. We've arrived.
Just change up the old browser. Yeah, sorry, does not work well with Restream for some bizarre reason. I don't know.
I just don't understand. Yeah, you would think that all these things, like the first thing people would think was like, let's design these things to play well together because we don't know what combination of things people are going to put together.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing about Mac and Apple products, for that matter. Look, these Mac Minis, these are great computers for what we use them for. They really are. I mean, they hardly ever choke. They hardly ever freeze or back down or anything when they're set up, right?
Yeah.
And for $800, you'd have to build something equivalent in the PC environment. You're looking at $2,000, $3,000. Well, $3,000 and up, right? Yeah. So that it will do everything we need to do. But the downfall of it is Apple does not play well with others. If it's outside of the Apple walled garden, it just doesn't play well with others. And that's the only issue I have.
Yeah, indeed.
I mean, like big issue. It's a big issue that I have.
Oh, yeah. It's a big issue.
I literally was trying to transfer somebody a file via Bluetooth.
Mm-hmm.
I could see every Bluetooth device in the room except for the iPad that was one meter away. And he had it on disc. He couldn't see my phone. I couldn't see his iPad. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Because there's 9 other devices in the room I can see, but I can't see yours. So they just don't play well with others. And why, I don't know. They just don't.
Yeah. It's a Mac thing.
Yeah.
Just put that on a T-shirt. It's a Mac thing.
People would understand.
Yes, exactly. Oh, the whole world would understand. Lots of cursing. I got a Mac. A couple tidbits before we get started in earnest today on the political stuff. The Women's World Hockey Championship has started officially. The first match, I believe, was yesterday. Canada took on Finland and opened in style with a 5-0 shutout win. 2 goals from Gardner, goals from Shelton, Poulet, of course,
Of course.
and Malte in the third period for the win. So that's a great start for the women. And for those of you who like to cheer on Team Canada, do be sure to tune in. And I believe, if I am not mistaken as well, over the weekend will be for the tennis fans, Billie Jean King Cup qualification for Team Canada. And Canada is taking on Romania this time to be able to advance to the next round. This is the initial round for this year's competition. So, no, sorry, not Romania. I'm mistaken. Sorry, it will be taking on Japan in this one. So it's not because we're not in the finals or anything like that. It's not the top tier team, so you will not see Leila Fernandez or Bianca Andreescu here on the court, but you will see a lot of our rising stars like Victoria Mboko, who we've been talking about a lot, who's only lost one match this entire year so far. Ariana Arsenault, who's a doubles player who's emerged last year to climb into the top 200 in the world in doubles. You'll see Kayla Cross, I believe, as well, who's another emerging talent. So we'll have a team of 5 women, of course, with Coach Heidi Eltabach, who will be trying to lead them to a victory against Japan so that we can move on to the next round. So this technically is the qualification round to move into the world group again. So lots of stuff to cheer for, and I'm sure there'll be lots of other things going on in the sports world. But those are the 2 big ones that have caught our attention at the moment. There was also something else I couldn't remember off the top of my head that happened. Oh yeah, the Jays, for those who like baseball, signed Vladimir Guerrero to what is, I think, the second biggest contract ever.
No, not the second biggest
It was
contract
the
ever.
biggest?
No, not
Okay.
even close. It's the biggest in Blue Jays franchise history.
Okay. Yes.
And in Canadian sports teams history, but no, there were bigger contracts signed.
Okay.
It's up in the top 5 for sure, though.
Okay. So yeah, they finalized a 14-year, $500 million deal on Wednesday. So it looks like he's likes Toronto and would like to probably finish out his career there. So
14 years is a very long time, although it is baseball, right? So
right.
Having a 20 to 25 year career in baseball is not unheard of,
Right.
because it is a sport. It's a non-contact. I mean, occasionally fielders and base runners, but it's not. Nobody's trying to tackle you. Nobody's trying to slam you into the boards.
Right.
There's no slide tackling. Like the injuries in baseball, usually you're able to recover from and go back to play again.
It's usually a repetitive motion industry, if any injury,
pitchers.
if anything.
Yeah. And Nolan Ryan was a pitcher who had a 25-year career, and the guy could throw a 100-mile-an-hour fastball in a day when maybe 2 people in the league could do it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
So
it's a different sport, you know.
Yeah.
Well, what was it George Carlin used to say? He says, "Football is a sport. You have to penetrate the zone. You have to force your way through physically to score a touchdown to get to the end zone. Baseball, you get to go home.
It's a game."
It's a game. And I'm not picking on baseball players.
No.
I know they're athletes. Although, how many athletes have you heard? How many baseball players have said, "We're not athletes, we're baseball players"?
Yeah. Well, the hand-eye coordination in baseball is amazing.
Yes. And if you're an outfielder and you can rip that ball into the home plate from deep in the outfield, that's a skill. Yeah. Don't kid yourself.
Yeah. So Guerrero was receiving a record $325 million US signing bonus, which is payable in 15 installments.
Wow. So you know what this means, right?
What?
cable bill and internet bills and phone bills are about to go up if you are a subscriber to Rogers, because Rogers owns the Blue Jays and the Sky Dome, or they call it the Rogers Center. I still call it the Sky Dome. When people say Rogers Center, I'm like, which one?
Right.
There's a few of them, right?
And the other thing, that was the other thing I was trying to remember. Corey Connors, unfortunately, no relation. Canadian golfer right now is in second place after the first round of the Masters in Augusta, Georgia. We have 4 Canadian golfers in the mix. Mr. Pendrith, whose first name I can't remember off the top of my head, Nick Taylor, and Mike Weir getting a invitation because he once won and has the green jacket. So people are not necessarily expecting much from him, but he's there. Top 50 and ties make the cut. Mike Weir so far is in about 68. So, hey, he has a good second round. He might make the cut.
I would suggest he's in the twilight of his career now, though.
Yes, he plays on the Champions Tour, I think, or the Senior Tour most often. But
he won the Masters. That's an achievement, man.
Oh yeah,
and
absolutely.
He's the only Canadian to ever do it.
Yeah, I think he might be the only Canadian in a long time, at least, to win one of the 4 Grand Slams too. I'm sure there's some Canadians have won some in the past, but we might have to go back like to the 1930s.
Yeah, you'd be right about that. Dave Barr used to be a great golfer, and he won a number of titles, but he never won a Grand Slam, and he never won the Masters. So, Masters is on this weekend, isn't it?
Yeah, it started.
Yeah, it did. Okay, I thought I saw something last night, and here's the thing: it's like it threw me for a loop because usually it's considerably warmer when the Masters is being played. Here, I mean. In Ottawa, it's usually considerably warmer. Was it Wednesday night? Wednesday night, I went to my Scotch and Cigar Club with the boys, and one of the guys was sitting there. I mean, we're bundled up. We have our heated seat cushions, and one of the guys says, this time last year it was 22 degrees. I go, yeah. 2 years ago, on this coming Sunday, was when Bridget and I first met. It was 32 degrees that day on April 13th. 32. I remember vividly because I was walking to go downtown, to go up the street to a client site in shorts and a t-shirt and my hat, and I took a photo of me passing the rink because the boards are still up, and there was a huge snowbank, and the following day it was gone. Okay. 32, the snow doesn't stick around long. It melts pretty fast.
Oh, yeah, indeed. So there you go, kids and cubs. For those of you who want to wave the flag and cheer over the course of the weekend, we got some stuff for you. So do your civic duty. Yes. More patriotic duty than civic duty. As well, kids and cubs, because we're going to be looking into this probably every morning for the next while. Stock markets had a bit of a down day yesterday because the reality, the celebration that tariffs were coming off was not tempered with the reality that the ones on China had gone up. So while you saw Apple stock on that the day where the pause was announced go up by a lot, it was sort of like, but you do realize that your stuff is made in China, right? And that went up to 125%. It's like, oh yeah, and then came back down a little bit yesterday. So we had that, but for North America, the markets are showing that a positive open is being implied, with the Dow implied open will be up 200. Now that's not a lot, maybe half a percentage change, but still up. The S&P and the NASDAQ also looking to be up right now, about 0.6% up for the S&P, and similar for the NASDAQ. In Asia Pacific, it was a mixed trading day, with the Nikkei in Japan still down close to 3%, but the Hang Seng up 1% and everything else up a little moderately. Taiwan was the best in the area with up almost 3%. And in Europe, current trading, pretty much everything is down moderately, about 1% or less, except for the FTSE 100 in the UK, which is up about 0.5%. So far, it looks like they're asking for or the signals are that it's going to be a slightly positive day on the markets, at least to open, and then the day's events happen and the market goes along with it. With regard to that, there's lots of news and stuff that have come out, and one of the things yesterday, I think we showed you a clip of, oh, what's his name? Tom Stent, I think his name is. Oh, darn, can't remember. He's not the Commerce Secretary because that's Howard Nutlick. But the other guy we showed you, who was basically claiming that, well, yeah, this was part of Trump's plan all along. I mean, we said don't retaliate and things would go fine. Those who didn't retaliate, and well, then you saw what happened to China. So you had this guy, and then you had we always have Howard Lutnick, and listening to lots of news about this. It seems that the consensus about Lutnick is he's just a loudmouth who has no idea what he's talking about at any time.
Well,
At any time.
and not only that, but you know how well, let's try and speak, Paul. I'll try and speak. People are talking about how Trump's just doing it. It's market manipulation on his part, right?
Right.
Well, have you seen this clip? It's only 13 seconds, but listen carefully.
This is Charles Schwab. It's not just a company, it's actually an individual. And he made $2.5 billion today, and he made $900 million. That's not bad, because he's in financials. I've always been.
He made $2.5 billion today, and he made $900 million.
Yeah.
All because he's, now's a great time to buy, and then boom, up went the market, right?
Yeah, they actually told people now's a good time to buy. Dude.
Yeah.
And then made a change.
Here's my incriminating evidence.
Yes, but of course, the regular public didn't believe it, right? Now's the time to buy. Okay, yeah, the market's tanking. You want everybody to put money in to try to save you today, and it goes catch a falling knife. No, thank you, buddy. And it turns out, well, he was hiding it in plain sight. It would seem. Yeah. Yes. But yeah, so a lot of people. Well, let's put it this way. On the day that he announced the pause, when the NASDAQ went back up 12% that day and the S&P went up 9%, sometimes that happens. It takes a whole year for that to happen. So there's some people that made a whole year's worth of profit in one day.
Single day.
They did it twice because they had that first thing. Oh, the 90-day pause is coming. No, there's no 90-day pause. Well, that one went up and then down, right? The Dow Jones went from, I think, minus 1,500 to a 300 plus in those moments before coming back down. So twice in 3 days, people had a chance to make a whole year's worth of profit in one day.
Yeah.
If they
that happens all the time, right? That's just a common occurrence. That's
absolutely. Yes.
Nothing to see here. Yep. He made $2.5 billion. He made $900 million. That's a normal.
Yep.
That's a normal day's trading. Anybody who's ever worked in the stock market, and I have a few friends who have, I know some people who trade for a living. That's how they earn their living. That kind of a profit in a single day is unheard of without stock market manipulation. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah. And you had Trump all over camera because, again, as we keep on telling you, conservatives like to start history whenever they choose and whatnot. So had a very broad range of history going, well, people said it would be terrible, and look what happened yesterday. So I guess they were wrong, right? Yes, in one day you solved it all. One good day where you reversed yourself, you solved it all, and everything's like, look, I broke it. Look, I fixed it. Ain't I great? Yeah. Let's before start crowing about how great the markets are doing, how about we pick a range that's different than the best day in a long time, basically since the end of COVID, because of you said something was happening and then changed your mind. Maybe we should pick an organic number somehow, right? It's just this guy. Look, everything's solved. Just look at the evidence of this one day. Life is great. This guy's too much. Yeah. Anyway, listen, it's a bullshit factory. It's a bullshit factory.
That's all it
Right.
is.
Let's be clear. So it seems that they finally came up with a response to why it was that they were tariffing Heard and the McDonald Islands, why they were tariffing the penguins. You see, it's because all these sneaky and devious countries that take such advantage of the United States that the United States became the global superpower for the last 80 years.
Yes, because they've been taken advantage of for so long.
And ripped off by everyone. It's amazing how you can become the most exceptional country in the world. They actually hold these two thoughts in their heads at the same time. We are the most exceptional, best country in the world, and we did that while
We've
being
been a victim.
ripped off and cheated by everyone on the planet for 80 years.
Yeah. There's no logic there,
Really?
sir. There's no logic there.
Yeah. So
Logic dictates that can't be true.
so it seems that is a confession, right? It seems that the rest of us are just so damn sneaky that the countries to which Heard and McDonald Islands belong to would
Mhm.
take all their product and ship it there first before shipping it to the United States so that they could benefit from a better tariff because that would be more cost effective.
Which has never happened because they're uninhabited islands. They have penguins and seals. That's
Yeah.
it. There's no
There's what-
infrastructure there. There's no port. There's nothing.
Yeah. And I think on Heard Island, I think the only people that would be affected by the tariffs, I think, is a Canadian company that has like a dairy farm. Canadian couple has a dairy farm or something. It's like, really? I was like, why us? What did we do? So yes, apparently that's the thing. The paranoia is that the country will ship everything to McDonald Heard Islands first, where there's no one there to receive the stuff. But then ship it off to somewhere else to say that it originated here. Give us the lower tariff.
I'll take things that never happened for 500, Alex.
Because we're just that sneaky.
Just he's a paranoid narcissist. Everybody's out to get us, but only I can fix it.
Oh, shit.
I've never heard of a paranoid narcissist before, and yet I believe this is what we're looking at. Well, he's also in the early stages of dementia, or maybe the late stages. I don't know.
Well, I mean, paranoid and being narcissist kind of goes, somebody's watching me.
I guess, yeah.
Somebody's watching me.
When you think about
Somebody's watching me.
I can see how they go hand in hand, right? Because everybody's watching me, but everybody's watching me. Everybody's watching me. Everybody's watching me. I mean,
oh God, we're playing today. Okay. Speaking of other types of loser talk.
Well, just before we get that, I wanted to show you a picture. I don't think you've seen this yet. You'll like this. Dutch soccer club honors Canadian military on new uniforms.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they're honoring the Canadian military on the 80th anniversary of the country's liberation during the Second World War. SC Cambuur, which competes in the Dutch Second Division, unveiled on Tuesday new kits that honor the Royal Canadian Dragoons. The Dragoons played a major role in liberating the Netherlands from the Axis power rule, including the city of Leeuwarden, where SC Cambuur is based. The kits feature red maple leaves on the front and the insignia of the Dragoons on the back. So, pretty kick-ass. I thought I'd share that with you quickly.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah.
Well, for all this talk, there's no better friends than Canada than the United States. But the best friends in the world are Canadians and the Dutch. Let's just face it, right? It's love and it's real. I remember my first trip to the Netherlands. Oh my God. Literally, just walk anywhere in the country with a T-shirt or a sweater that says Canada.
Yeah, I've not been there
what
yet, and I
happens.
have to go.
Oh.
A buddy of mine was there years ago, and he was working there, and his colleague was German, and so they went to a pub, and the German guy says, "I'll get the first round." And he goes up, and they wouldn't serve him. They refused to serve him. So he comes back and sits down. This is like 30 years ago, still. And my buddy says, "Well, what?" He goes, "I'm used to it. I'm German. They won't serve me here. It's very common. I don't even take it personally. I understand why, I had nothing to do with it, but I get it. And he wasn't upset. He says, well, let me see what I can get. He goes up to the bar. He goes, oh, you're Canadian. Drinks are on us. One guy couldn't get a drink. The other guy got free drinks.
I love the Dutch. They're very practical.
He is on our side.
All right. Speaking of loser talk, Corey Tenike, once again, laid into the Conservatives because apparently they didn't hear him the first time.
Apparently, he really did. He really did.
I listened to this episode from it's Curse of Politics, hosted by David Hurley, and I listened to the episode before all these clips were taken, and everybody turned around and go, "Oh," and I was like, "Yeah, that's a lot there." So we have Jaz Johal, who's a journalist from British Columbia, who isolated 3 particular clips. And would like to play them for you. We have no visual. Now, there is visual of it. I don't want to steer you wrong. They are on YouTube, and you can see the visual of the talking heads and all of that. But this one is the audio clips from the podcast version here.
All right, let's roll with this.
You know, I know I've got a bad name with some people in the Conservative Party for pointing out at the beginning of the campaign that, you know, the election has pivoted towards Trump. That was true in fucking December. It was true in fucking December. And I know because, you know, I was running a campaign for Doug Ford in which we were doing polling and we're listening to that polling. And that was true in December. And it was true in January and February and March, right? But I see no evidence that they have actually polled and that they are actually like following polling and research and anything that is even remotely conventional in how you manage a fucking campaign. And that's why they're losing. And they're losing. Like, let's just pause and point out, they have blown a 25 fucking point lead, which is like, you know, you want to talk, we talk sometimes about campaign malpractice. Blowing a 25-point lead and being like 10 points down is fucking campaign malpractice at the highest fucking level. And I'm sorry to have to point that out, Conservatives, but, you know, that is the actual reality.
Losing Ontario by 20 points.
Yes. You know, but like since December, right?
Right.
So, you know, if they're polling, they're not listening to it. And like they are polling, but like I don't want to listen to it because that's not what I want to believe. And, you know, whatever this is, but like this campaign is going to be studied for decades as the biggest fucking disaster in terms of having lost a massive lead in ways that are so obvious with so much information that says.
All right.
Wow.
Now, that's the first
a lot of F-bombs in a minute and 46 seconds.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. For those of you who are keeping count, that was 6 fuckings.
He was not happy.
Now, here's the thing that's interesting about politics, right? Because a candidate says fucking, and then everybody clutches pearls. Oh my God, can't you say that word? But all the backroom operatives swear like truckers and the love children of truckers and sailors.
This was just yesterday. Here's the second clip.
Yes.
In terms of you know, what's driving the electorate, you know, in terms of, you know, stability, change, all of that. Like, I don't know. I feel like I'm like, you know, shouting at the clouds, like on this, you know, being with Trump and being viewed as Trump and channeling Trump is like how to lose this election. And the campaign and Poilievre can't stop doing it. They just can't stop, won't stop. In terms of you know, what's driving the electorate, you know, in terms of, you know, stability, change, all of that. Like, I don't know. I feel like I'm like, you know, shouting at the clouds, like on this, you know. Being with Trump and being viewed as Trump and channeling Trump is like how to.
What's that?
I think it looped.
It did loop. I didn't realize it. Sorry.
Yeah. So,
yeah, that's only 33 seconds, that clip. That's why.
Yeah.
It was very short. Here's
So-
the third clip I have here.
Yes.
I'll get it queued up to go. So we'll listen.
And this will ring a bell given recent events.
Why does it keep switching to that one? I wanted to go to the. Okay, here we go.
Corey,
So-
women 50 plus is 50
Like all of
54
them?
liberal, 27 conservative.
Like
Is that
like all of them? Is it not all of them?
What? Say that
But
number
like,
again.
look,
no, Dave?
like
What was that?
54 27?
There you go.
But David, I've never
They vote.
seen a conservative campaign with any hope of winning where you did not win like men over 55 like 80-20 and women like 60-40, right? Like that's basically what the math of that is.
Right.
And you might lose women overall, but you've got to win 55 plus women. And like they are getting slaughtered. They're getting slaughtered by women. And the response to that is to, in the Trumpiest fashion possible, do an apple eating fucking parade of, disparaging fucking nastiness to Laura Stone of all people. Like to Laura Stone, like one of the nicest people you meet in the gallery. Like this is not, I don't want to like name less nice people in the gallery who hector you with like nasty questions, but like this is somebody who's respectful and professional and all of that, and you're going to do that, and you're going to do it on rally size, like yeah, it's like if the conservatives lose this campaign, as it looks like they're going to, it's going to be through sheer fucking stubbornness and stupidity, because that's what that is. It's
Well, there you go.
I thought what was interesting was he pointed it out. Going in on Laura Stone at a rally about rally sizes. As he just said, one of the nicest, most polite, kind people you'll ever meet. I love how I think Corey, as somebody said in the chat, he's a red Tory, and I'm like, I think he actually is.
Mhm.
Because he's calling out garbage for what it is. It's garbage.
It's just really interesting that we have so many Tories, actual Tories, calling out, because we got Corey tonight calling out. We got Benjamin Perrin calling out Pierre Poilievre on his 3-strike strategy.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
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 And Benjamin Perrin was the author of a lot. Well, the author,
For
not
Harper.
as a legislator, but behind the scenes of
Mhm.
most of those, mandatory minimum type crimes that got overturned, legal background and all that kind of stuff, and continued doing work on that, and discovered as he was doing more research that's actually, these things sound good, but they really don't work
Bad.
at all.
Like they're bad.
Because, and armed with new information, changed his mind.
Because he's intelligent enough to recognize that when you
Right?
when you learn more, you do more proper. It's like
Because
it doesn't work this way. Okay, interesting. Look at this.
you're allowed
Wow.
you're allowed to be wrong.
Yes, you are.
Right? So long as at some point along the way, you discover you're wrong, admit you're wrong, and change. Being wrong is normal. It happens. I'm wrong all the time.
And Linda says, let's not forget we have Corey to thank for being saddled with Doug Ford. Yes, I fully acknowledge that.
Yes,
I fully acknowledge that.
absolutely. Right. And, and he helped with Harper and all that kind of stuff. I mean, listen, he's not my favorite person.
No.
But again, we say on the show, you gotta, if you can't be first to call out your own side.
Bingo.
Right.
And he's calling them out for what
calling
they've
them out.
done.
Yeah.
And that's what you have to do.
Yep. I saw that comment there go, like Jenny and Corey don't like each other or whatever. Yeah, they don't. They really don't.
No.
Corey thinks that Jenny is absolutely atrocious campaign organizer based on the campaign that Harper lost with the barbaric cultural practices, Stitchline, and all that kind of stuff, and just cannot believe that she, out of like her, or Fred Delory, because that they went with her of all people, of all of them. It's like she's a disaster, and she's motivated by venom.
Yeah, she's a very angry person.
Yeah. She very much is a win the nanosecond person, and always,
Yes.
always, always be punching down. And the goal here for the conversation that was going
Somebody to
on.
be like that, though, is what I don't get. Like,
I
who
know,
hurt you?
I
Who
know.
hurt you?
But the goal of this party, right? The basic conclusion from this conversation is that getting Trudeau to leave was probably the stupidest thing that the Conservatives could have ever done when
That's
they
all they
had him
had.
down at 22, 26, 28. Just keep him there.
That's all they had. That's
Just
all they had.
But the anger and the venom and the hate and whatnot, they just absolutely wanted to destroy this man and destroy this party. So it could never exist again. There would be nothing left. And they pushed it and they pushed it and they pushed it and they got him to go. They got exactly what they wanted. They got exactly what they asked for. And now look at what they get.
Yeah.
Again, I keep on saying, as the Pussycat doll sang, be careful what you wish for because you just might get it.
Mm-hmm.
Get it?
I just, who hurt her? I mean that sincerely. Like, this is a very angry person.
Angry party, angry movement, angry everything.
Like, why are you so angry?
It's like,
Why?
winning wasn't enough. They had to annihilate and totally destroy for all eternity.
Yeah. Like, why do you
Now
have
look
so
where it
much
gets them.
hatred towards another Canadian who's actually trying to do something to make the country a better place for each and every one of us?
Exactly. And in there, they were also talking about polling results, but qualitative polling results, where they were asking, do you want someone who can offer stability, or do you want someone that can, someone that can offer change? And those who want change prefer Polyev to Carney, but those who want stability
Mm-hmm.
prefer Carney to Polyev, and those who prefer Polyev on the change are about 57%, but it's like 69% on stability for Carney. So,
Well, and stability is what more people are hoping for and wanting and craving and desiring right now, because it's a very unstable world right now.
yeah. And then there's this other thing. Frank Graves from Ecos also did some qualitative polling on the security clearance issue specifically. And the results there were ridiculously revealing, because how Canadians are feeling about this is not at all in any shape or form a partisan thing. In any way, shape, or form. Voters from four parties, Liberals, NDP, the Bloc Québécois, and the Greens, when asked the question, here's the question. As you may know, Conservative Party leader Pierre Poilievre has faced criticism for refusing to obtain a top security clearance, which, among other things, would allow him to receive classified briefings on foreign interference in Canadian politics. To what extent do you believe his refusal is a serious issue? Nationally, 57% of Canadians believe it's a serious issue. 12% believe it's moderately serious, and 27% believe it's not serious at all. But if we look by party, Liberals, 84% believes it's serious. NDP, 82% believe it's serious. Green Party, 78 believe it's serious, and Bloc Québécois, 72.
Wow.
So of the four of these parties, 72% at minimum of those who support them think that this is an issue. Now, the national average is 57. So who's dragging us down? Conservative Party voters, 9% of voters believe it's a serious issue. 9. 84% of Liberals, 82% of NDP, but only 9% of Conservatives believe it's a serious issue. 15% believe it's moderately serious, and 72% believe it is not serious at all. Now, here's the one that'll shock you. The People's Party, 20% believe it's serious.
Wow. That's a huge number for them.
Greater than 2 times the voters for the PPC believe that Pierre not getting a security clearance is an issue than actual Conservative Party voters, who are supposed to be more moderate.
Wow.
When we're talking about the great rewiring, there's proof.
Yeah, no kidding.
So on the conservative side of the ledger, two parties bring a national average where all other parties are 72%. And to get 72% or more Canadians to agree on anything, come on. So 72% of the supporters, minimum of 4 different parties, think this is a bad idea. But the two parties that are on the conservative side of the ledger, again, thinks it's not such a bad idea to draw that average down nationally to 57.
Wow.
There's a problem. There's a huge problem. We are losing people
Rapidly.
to lies and scenarios and make-believe stuff.
Well, and let's get the lies called out here. I don't know if I'm just going to put the headline up, show you this quickly. I don't know if you saw this from CBC. Liberals and conservatives said their rallies drew thousands. We decided to count. They did a digital count of the people in the photos, and the numbers are not what they tell you. I'll put the link to that in the chat for anybody who wants to have a look at it. It's like, they can't even, it's because the lies are just so extreme.
Yeah, I hear you. So we've got lies. We've got not admitting to reality. We've got not being able to pivot. We've got Corey tonight coming back for a second swing. Right? We've got Canadians just not buying into it whatsoever. We've got attacks on the media. We've got articles coming out talking about the conservatives. Remember the promise at the beginning of the campaign that the conservatives would have the most transparent campaign, despite the fact that the media would not be allowed. Well, somebody did some counting. The numbers have changed because yesterday's data have been in there. But the conservative leader took 65 questions in broadcast press conferences during the first 2 weeks of the campaign, compared to 148 fielded by the Liberal leader, 163 by the Bloc leader, and 208 by the NDP leader. Yeah. 65 questions. The closest is 148. He took less than half the questions that his closest rival has taken so far in the first 2 weeks.
That's pretty telling. And remember, it's only 4 questions he picks out, and there's no follow-up, and they pull the mic away if they don't like where the question's going.
And again, when you get when I'm talking about loser talk here, right? I say he's interfering with our right to cast a fully informed vote. And somebody goes, oh no, he's not trying to hide anything. It's like, well,
no, he absolutely is.
He isn't interfering with anything. Well, clearly he is, because he only took 65 questions and everybody took at least twice as more. Some people nearly 3 times as more. It's like, clearly he isn't. Pierre makes policy announcements every day. He's talked to many journalists. Too bad if he doesn't talk to the ones you want, you wouldn't vote for him anyway. That's loser talk.
He talks to journalists. He tells them things, but he's not taking any questions. There's a difference. I can talk to journalists too. I can send emails and text messages and DMs, but unless they reply to me, it means nothing.
These are people that don't understand the concept that somebody who shows up to talk at you rather than to you and with you.
Yes, there's a difference.
Somebody who comes up and goes to a Q&A session and starts asking you questions rather than taking them, and asks you more questions than he is going to take.
Yeah.
Making a policy announcement every day is talking at us. This is not, and it's giving us the information he wants us to hear without any filtering or criticism or critique at all. That is not interfering with our right to cast a fully informed vote. That's literally doing everything you possibly and humanly can to interfere with to not give us the information we need.
He doesn't really even answer the questions, though. That's the thing. He just pivots and immediately blames Mark Carney because Trudeau's not there anymore. So he's got to pivot and blame someone and go to the housing cost and the crime is up. And he doesn't answer questions. He sidesteps all of them.
Yep. But the ones who are in are all in, right? They will tell themselves. He makes a lot of policy announcements, so he's not interfering with anything. Really? So we're just going to avoid the rest. We're just going to count the number of policy announcements because no other leader has made fewer policy announcements. Everybody has one a day.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not a thing. The policy announcement is the talking at us part.
Well, and continuing down that vein, this is in part of the outline you gave to me here. Jenny Byrne reportedly told the National Council of Conservatives that they're winning. Don't believe the polls. We have so many lawn signs in big rallies. And now they're going to move the goalposts, right? They're going to move the goalposts so far to say that the election was rigged because they really have flags and T-shirts that say "Don't believe the poll." Do you believe the polls? Do you believe the polls? And look, dear this is a conservative, Ken Bossencool. Dear conservative friends, stop. We have rules. We accept outcomes based on following those rules. Following rules is a core conservative value. Please don't plant seeds to do the opposite. They've got T-shirts and hats printed.
Yeah.
They're already going to go for the it was rigged if they lose.
Yep. Americanizing our politics yet more. Setting the ground. Laying the groundwork for it was rigged.
Yeah, it's exactly what they're doing.
Don't believe the polls. Believe our crowd sizes. Don't believe what people who have gone to university and studied and have worked years for years to develop their methodology and whatnot. And again, as we remind you, Canadian pollsters are some of the best in the world given the makeup of our parliament. They're not polling just for two parties, they're polling for five and how it can make up and, right? Vote splitting and all that kind of stuff. But don't believe the polls.
Don't believe the polls. Yeah.
Just believe us.
Don't believe your eyes and ears. Just believe what we tell you. Where have I heard that before?
Yeah. Yeah. And again, considering how tightly run everything in that party is, and I think I remember at some point somebody got booted out of a campaign event for a specific T-shirt that they were wearing.
What was that?
I'm how do so many people show up with do you believe the polls hoodies in this way at a conservative event where everything is so tightly scripted and tightly controlled that even their staffers hold the mics for the journalists and decide when they can. Who believes that that is just an organic thing that people on their own have just decided to do and that this is not staged or marketed or sanctioned in any way by Byrne and company?
Well,
this just happened.
Yeah, no, it didn't. No, it didn't. I got a 5-second clip to show you. It just popped up in my feed. You'll get a kick out of this, sir.
So, all right.
Day 18 in the class.
Oh boy. Yay! You could see the breath in, eh?
Yeah. I got to do this.
That's
I mean, that's really uncomfortable.
That
you get hurt his face. That's really uncomfortable.
Yeah. And all of this culminated yesterday, and I wish I had the clip handy, but I do not, unfortunately. In Pierre Poilievre being asked point blank if he would accept the results of the election. Mark Carney was also asked that. And Mark Carney was like, well, of course, yeah. Now, of course, it's easy for him to say because he's in the lead. It looks like he's going to a majority. But Pierre also said, oh, yes, absolutely, I will. And fine. But here's the thing. You do realize that this question never even would have had to be asked if somebody within your campaign allegedly was, or just some very industrious and proactive party faithful started showing up with, do you believe the polls, and had big signs made, similar in size to the one that said Pierre Poilievre for PM during the convoy, and are unfurling them everywhere. Just suddenly start to pop up. So much so that they're asking the party. And there are people that turn around and say, signs don't vote. Well, hoodies don't either.
Mm-hmm.
And crowd size also doesn't vote. People vote.
I have his response here.
Oh, you have it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll see if I can find Mark Carney's in a minute, but I have Pierre Poilievre's. What is?
Yeah.
Who don't believe the polls. Do you believe the polls, and can you commit today that you will respect the results of the election no matter the outcome?
Yes, and that decision will be based on whether, after a lost Liberal decade of rising crime and costs and a falling economy under America's thumb, we can afford a fourth Liberal term, or whether we want change with a new Conservative government that will axe taxes, build homes, stop crime, unleash our resources so we can bring home our jobs and stand up to Washington from a position of strength.
All
Did
he
he
had to say
answer the
was-
question?
Yes, he did say yes.
He did
Right
say
at the
yes.
stop.
And then,
But after he said yes, that's where he needed to stop.
yeah.
Yes, and Mark Carney is still a bigger threat to Canada than Trump. Dude, stop. With
Yeah.
more slogans. Stop. Stop. It's like Corey said, can't stop, won't stop. The answer was yes. Of course.
And I
Why
have,
wouldn't I?
and here's the, conversely, here's the response from Mark Carney.
Catherine Lévesque, National Post. Good morning. People at Conservative rallies say they don't necessarily believe national polls. Earlier this morning, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre would not say if he believed them. My question to you, do you believe the polls right now? And do you commit to recognizing the result of the election, whatever it is?
Jeez, of course. Okay. This is Canada. This is Canada. I know there's certain parties that just import all their slogans and their policies from America, but let's not import that nonsense into Canada. We will have, and we are in the midst of a fair and open and free election in Canada. I am very pleased about the very high level of engagement of Canadians across this country in this election process, being informed, coming out to rallies, knocking on doors, making phone calls, discussing around dinner tables. This is exactly what we need, because this is the most consequential election of our lifetime. The only poll that matters is the poll that has started with advance polling, but the poll that happens on election day, the votes of Canadians. And I and my colleagues are focused on doing everything we can to earn that trust. But certainly, and it goes back maybe to the question about the platform, that ensuring that Canadians, the media, stakeholders, Canadians themselves are fully informed about what we're going to do. We're not just going to stand up to Donald Trump and get the best deal for Canada, although we will do that. We're the only ones who. But we're going to build.
All right.
What a
Now-
difference in attitude towards the question.
Exactly. And yes, and if you are going to say anything other than yes to that question, that's what you say.
Yes.
Notice how we smoothly transitioned it on to the engagement of Canadians.
And let's watch this again, though, because it's the vitriol, the anger, instead of saying let's build something together, he immediately attacks his opponent.
Yes.
Who don't believe the polls. Do you believe the polls, and can you commit today that you will respect the results of the election no matter the outcome?
Yes, and that decision will be based on whether, after a lost Liberal decade of rising crime and costs and a
He's
falling
choking on the
economy
answer.
under America's thumb, we can trust, we can afford a fourth Liberal term, or whether we want change with a new Conservative government that will axe taxes, build homes, stop crime, unleash our resources so we can bring home our jobs.
Like,
Unimpressed face. It's just like, come on.
he just builds on his unlikability so much every day with the way he responds to people.
There literally is a graph from Angus Reid that shows Pierre's negatives going up and up and up. It's like anti-charisma on a chart. It's literally anti-charisma on a chart. Loser talk. And much more loser talk, but actually loser actions, because the dirty tricks have started. Bruce Fanjoy, of course, who's running against Pierre in his riding in Carleton. Well, first of all, there's the whole longest ballot thing that's going on there. But over 300 of his signs have been vandalized.
Yeah.
Or destroyed or removed. They had a couple of other ones where on his sign where he has the Canadian flag, people have actually decided to cover up the Canadian flag with "Fuck Trudeau" stickers.
Yeah.
There's videos of him actually like removing them from his signs.
And Trudeau is exactly where again in this political? Oh, that's right. He's a private citizen. He's no longer in government.
Campaigning in Papineau for the new representative for the Liberals in Papineau. And it seems that, according to Kit Cathy here, we got from our Facebook feed, in a Belleville riding, the incumbent is Conservative Ryan Williams from a wealthy hotel-owning family. The Liberal candidate is Chris Millett, city councillor, well-known former newspaper columnist. Most know him as Chris, not Christopher. If one types Chris Millett.ca, one finds a Ryan Williams website. One can find Chris under ChristopherMillett.ca, not illegal, but sure demonstrates Conservatives' lack of ethics. So somebody, when they found out that Chris Millett was the winner, went out and bought ChrisMillett.ca and then programmed it to redirect itself to Ryan Williams, his rival's site. Not illegal, but definitely unethical and definitely playing dirty.
Greasy as greasy can be. I mean, that is just greasy.
Yeah. So, going well for the Conservatives. Do you believe the polls? Signs are being defaced. Signs are disappearing. Signs like that. But yes, that's the sign of a confident campaign.
Greasy.
Now, Pierre, we have two more clips from Pierre. One about his infamous 3 strikes policy that we talked about, because on a slow day, rather than talking about other stuff that Pierre could maybe do for us as citizens or to make Canada better in a positive way, of course he goes to crime.
Yeah.
Because he's out of ideas.
Of course he is. Did he ever have an idea to begin with? I mean,
so, this is Pierre talking about 3 strikes.
Jail is that the people that are in and out of jail already are going to stay there. See, what's happening, we don't have a lot of criminals in Canada. That's the good news. The bad news is they're very productive. It's the same tiny group that go in and out of the revolving door. We have to reserve them a room anyway because we know they're coming back. In Vancouver today, Vancouver last year, they arrested the same 40 offenders 6,000 times. So each offender was arrested 150 times in 1 year. Those people basically have a reserved room in the prison. It's just that they keep getting released to reoffend. There's one guy in Penticton, his name is Levi. You can ask the police about him there. He does so much crime that when he's out of prison, the crime rate for the entire city goes up. That guy is in and out of jail constantly. The people that are shooting up our streets, they're in and out of jail constantly. So they're already reserved a room. What I'm saying is get rid of the revolving door and replace it with an iron gate so that they don't get out. You know, when Prime Minister Harper was in office, we passed major crackdown on crime. And the Liberals said, you're going to have to build these mega prisons to accommodate all the criminals. You know what happened? Not only did crime go down by 25%, incarcerations went down. Because what we did is lock up the rampant offenders who were going to be in and out anyway. For them, it's like the Hotel California. They check out, but they never leave. And then the rest of them were scared that there'd be consequences. There is no fear among criminals today. Police officers tell me that criminals don't even bother trying to avoid getting caught. They go in and rob liquor stores without a mask on, and they walk slowly out the door because they know there will be no consequences even if they are caught. As soon as there are consequences, the softer, less habitual criminals, they'll find something else to do because they'll know it's not worth losing 10 years of their life.
Okay, so there's so much there we can attack. I think the first thing I want to talk about is the fact that that's a provincial matter.
Yep.
It's not a federal matter.
Nope. Let's put it this way here. First of all, look how happy he is when he's talking about just throwing people away and discarding them.
Oh, yeah.
Look how he talks about these people, right? They got a room like it's a hotel since they're going to be there anyway. Let's just keep it up. We don't need a revolving door. We need an iron gate. Okay. These alleged 46 or so criminals like this that were arrested 150 times, let's just say that's real. Right? Let's just say this person that he's talking about is real. This one person, Penticton.
Mm-hmm.
If someone was arrested 150 times in a year and kept on being released, are they being arrested for 150 instances of violent crime? Because most likely that's going to be petty crime over and over and over again. And as we were talking about yesterday, Mr. Grizzly, I believe someone who repeatedly commits petty crimes, like, for example, going to a liquor store and walking out slowly, particularly when it's -15 outside.
Well, and consider they know that the staff has been instructed not to intervene.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Do not intervene. So he says they rob a liquor store. I'm like, did they rob it or did they just shoplift? Because there's kind of a difference there. To rob a place, you usually use a weapon and say, give me all your money. They shoplifted. It's what they did. And they walked out passively. So they know they know that the people who work there won't do anything about it because they've been instructed not to, because a number of years ago, somebody on staff chased somebody outside who had just stole, shoplifted. And that person, I believe they tackled the person or something to that effect. And that person was severely injured outside of the store. And they sued the LCBO and they sued that individual and they won, which is why they have been told, do not intervene. And the other thing to consider is, so they stole a couple $100 worth of alcohol. We're a multi-billion-dollar corporation. I think we're going to be okay. Number one. Number two, your life is not worth a bottle of whiskey. Yeah. Because you don't know if that person has a weapon.
Exactly. And should that person have a weapon and then kill the store clerk, because there's going to be another lawsuit right? You're not saving money.
No. So they're like, just let it go. It's not a big deal. And I understand that. And I understand why people get bent out of shape. And I've seen people literally walk in, grab a bottle and walk. I've seen it happen over here in King Edward, the main store, the biggest store in the city. I've seen it happen. And I said to the clerk, I said, aren't you? And they go, no, we're instructed not to do anything. And she explained to me and I went, that's reasonable. That makes actual perfect sense. It does, because you don't know if that person has a weapon. You don't know if that person is going to turn and smash you over the head with that bottle.
And nothing stops you from picking up a phone and saying somebody just like this. And, when you're doing your rounds, That's what they're
And now they have security at the front door to just stop people.
Yeah, like this, but nothing stops you from calling it like this, and then police officer comes by and 3 blocks away sees them, whatever they are doing with their drink, enjoying it or whatever, and has a conversation,
Mhm.
and it's dealt with in a non-confrontational, non-violent manner. So it does, it's just like when they say they're letting the guy get away. Yeah, but they got his license number.
Yeah.
So don't worry about it. They know where he lives now.
We'll get him
right?
covered,
So, not everything has to be the big dramatic Hollywood movie takedown. Right?
Mm.
There are other ways to dealing with the problem that create a situation that is way less dangerous and way less confrontational for everyone involved. So, but he's really, really happy. He's really, really happy when he's talking about throwing these criminals. Like, this is how much he thinks of fellow Canadians. And again, remember the saying, you can judge a society. You should judge a society by the way it treats its incarcerated populations. This guy is just happy to lock them up, and just throw them away.
Well, and yesterday he
even for petty crime.
He stated this yesterday, and I got to read this to you. I will turn hurt into hope by ending taxpayer-funded drug dens and investing in 50,000 treatment spaces to help Canadians recover.
That's exactly where I was going next.
Well, I figured as much. While expanding drug recovery, I'll stop federal funding for opioids, defund drug sites, and keep any remaining ones 500 meters from schools, parks, and seniors' homes under strict new oversight. The experts agree treatment works. Treatment does work. However, closing safe consumption sites, all he's doing is sending people to die in a back alley somewhere.
Mm-hmm. And treatment works. Usually not the first time.
And it's voluntary.
Voluntary, and works once you have a place for people to go to and the wraparound services that are required after they finish treatment. But those are costly, bloated government social programs, and you don't believe
He doesn't
in that.
believe in them. Well, and
you go to treatment, you're houseless, you go to treatment, and you still don't have a home when you get out. What do you think happens next?
Well, he says he wants to build 50,000 treatment spaces.
There's 81,000 homeless people in Ontario alone. How many of them, because addiction is overrepresented in this population? 50,000. Wow, you're really going to solve the national issue.
Well, apparently, from what I understood yesterday, there are approximately 670,000 Canadians with addiction issues. So he's going to help 50,000, the other 620,000, just let them die in a back alley because he doesn't give a shit about them. He doesn't care. He's going to force them into treatment, which I will tell you right now has not ever worked for anyone. Forced treatment does not work. Yeah, they'll be clean and sober for 42 or 50 days or 90 days, however long they incarcerate them for, because they can't get access to the medication or drug or alcohol or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And what's he going to, is he going to force, like, you remember during the start of the pandemic when they insisted on keeping liquor stores open and beer stores, and why they did that?
Yep.
Because people die. People who have severe addictions to alcohol will die without it.
Yep.
You will die without it. It's as simple as that. And they didn't want to create another medical crisis when there's, as we know of, 670,000. That number could be higher, could be lower. I don't know. It's approximately 670,000 Canadians that have addiction issues. How much is that is alcohol? How much is that is drugs? We don't know. But can you imagine how overwhelmed the hospitals would be with people, which is why they kept the stores open.
Yeah.
And it made sense.
Yes, it did make sense.
Because it's, what do we call that again? Safe supply.
Mm-hmm.
I was in a safe consumption site last night, actually, having a pint of beer.
Yep, so was I. But the
and a steak dinner.
At the bar at the Curling Row.
Well, there's a special steak and a Caesar for $20. And I'm like, steak, yeah. I don't feel like cooking one at home, so I went out and had a steak and a Caesar and a beer.
Yep.
A Caesar salad, not the drink,
Yes,
Caesar salad.
Yes. So the thing with this is that if there's only 50,000 spaces, what are the odds that those 50,000 spaces are going to be 50,000 spaces for the people, as the saying goes, who get caught doing crack in the bathroom at the Royal York
Right.
rather than at the bathroom at the bus depot.
Yeah, what happens there, right?
Yeah. He's going to bring 50,000 people back home drug-free because they actually have homes to go to
Right.
once they become drug-free.
Let's not do anything about putting people into homes.
Yeah, right. He mocked
Let's
the
not give
housing
them a
policy.
UBI. Oh, yeah.
He mocked the liberal housing policy and his housing policy. There where you saw if you saw the sign on his podium, even though he's already announced
No GST.
the cut on no GST on houses of 1.3 million or fewer, whether it's your first new home or not. And then he mocked the strategy of retooling Canada to be a modular prefab home hub for the world. Thought that was a stupid idea because where are you going to park your car?
Mhm. Yes, because everyone has cars.
Yes, and because everyone who can only afford a tiny home,
Mhm.
right, has a car. And well, maybe, well, yeah, I won't go there.
No,
That's-
I understand. I understand. That's okay. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes I have to like filter as I'm going because I'm gonna say
Même chose
something.
pour moi, mon ami. Même chose pour moi.
Mhm.
Because sometimes we can,
See.
the thoughts in our head go a little bit further than our mouths, and we decide to just, let's get back from the edge of the cliff there.
Yes.
We're going to,
And I would like to keep doing this show.
yes. Yeah. Well, if we go too far, that would be the end of us, and we don't want to do
Yes.
that. And we're allowed to have those thoughts, by the way.
Having them is human.
Having them is human. Acting upon them is a different story. That's when you might need some help.
Yeah, and sometimes saying them out loud is
a
mean.
bad thing.
Sometimes, yes.
It's
But
a
having
bad
them,
thing.
human.
Well, saying them out loud in public is a really bad thing.
Yes.
But you're allowed to think it and then take a sober second thought. See what I did there?
Sober.
To think it through. And go, you know what? That was a bad idea. It's like write the angry email. Don't hit send.
Yes.
Come back to it an hour later, read it and go, oh shit, that was.
Yes. But write it to purge and get it out.
Get it out of your system.
Yes. See, the thing I told you the other day that I'd like to call Danielle Smith, when my beaver sweetie went off to work and it was just me in the house, and I locked all the doors and shut all the drapes, I yelled it out loud once, got it off my chest, and I went on and had my day.
Let me see. Was it this? Was it this? Wonderful, faithful, amazing, patient, dynamic, creative, thoughtful, strong, fantastic. Read the red letters.
Here I will engage my diplomatic and political nature and say I will neither confirm nor deny.
Okay, good to know. I got to get another coffee.
Okay.
I got to leave shortly, actually, but I am going to grab another coffee. I can stick around for about another 15 minutes before I have to head out.
Perfect. Okay.
I'll be right back.
Then Pierre was back at it again, accusing Carney of plagiarizing and all that kind of stuff. And here again, right? If your attacks are right, oh, Carney's plagiarizing me or plagiarizing other stuff, and like, it's just so lame. You would think that a party that had more money than God and that loves to attack would just have some kind of better strategy than this guy was successful in business, which is something conservatives usually like. And he's a bad person for it because China, with whom we signed a 31-year deal that was secret, or because whatever it is that they could, because he plagiarizes, allegedly, when we see Pierre's campaign where he steals Mark Carney's touch of gray on the side of the temples, his affect, and even his lines, such as, we can't control what the president does, but we can control our destiny. Like literally shamelessly steals them and then accuses, and he's still back at it. They've tried this plagiarizing thing now. This was the third day on the campaign. So it didn't take. It didn't take. Uh, and now he's got this housing thing that he had already announced, and now yesterday he's announcing $100,000 off the cost of a house or something like that. Because if cities reduce development charges, he's going to give them some type of incentive. So he likes this carrot and stick type thing, right? If you don't do the things I do, I will retire. I'll pull back your funding. But if you do extra things, I'll give you a big building bonus. It's like everything's just like a game show, right? It's not serious. So, and again, I keep on asking, where is all this money coming from?
Well,
Tax cuts, investments in the trades, $100,000 for cities on development costs, reduction on GST for your house, while having funds building a base in Iqaluit against the good sense, without any consent from the people living there, and then approving permits for like 6 months, which you can't be done. Mandatory minimums, 3 strike stuff, which is already unconstitutional, which means unless he's prepared to override your fundamental charter rights, it's a law that will accomplish absolutely nothing, because the second it's passed, it will be challenged in court and it will be overturned. She's literally promising to do nothing. If you follow it through. I don't know. This guy's still got half the campaign to go.
Yeah, that's a little disturbing when you think about it.
And he's already had 2 days on crime, and he's already had 2 days on yet another thing for houses. He can't even expand to other areas other than homes, crime, budget, and whatever the fourth thing in his slogan was going to be. It's like, we have cultural industries, we have scientific industries that you can talk about. There's official languages, there's language policy in general, the whole indigenous issue, preservation of indigenous languages, greater access to employment for minority groups, but that's too woke, so you won't talk about that. There are so many other issues. Like, he doesn't want to build the tramway in Quebec, but says that he supports the third link, but there's no project proposal at all for the third link at the moment. There's so many subjects that he can touch upon to make our lives better, increased food safety, all the stuff that's going on with the fishermen out on the East Coast. They've had plenty of protests. China's slapped a whole bunch of tariffs on seafood. They're having issues. He's got nothing to say about that, though. I mean, there's the Air Canada flight attendants were about to go on strike. He could have said something about that.
Nothing.
There's so many issues he could talk about, but he only wants to talk about those 4 things.
Well, and the thing that I find very interesting is how, you've noticed that his party is trying to set themselves apart from Maple MAGA recently.
Yeah.
Trying to pretend like it isn't a thing. Well, this is from, I'm going to show you this tweet from Laura Stone, and then we'll listen to the clip. It's only 36 seconds, so it's not long, but I don't know if you've seen this. Laura Stone says, standing outside the rally, 77-year-old Jose Goulart says organizers wouldn't let him in because his hat was MAGA. He says it's not he's a proud Canadian, but refused to take it off, so he can't go in. Like, what? He's not okay, let's...
They wouldn't let you in with the hat?
They don't let me. They let me if I take the hat off. Because they said it's MAGA. It has to do with Trump. It's nothing to do with Trump. I'm proud that I pay $50 for this hat. That's the only one in Canada. And they don't let me get in because I said make Canada great again. That's very disappointing, mate. I see people come in with flags, with Paulier's name, and they don't let me go in. I guess I take the hat out. I decide not to.
So they're really trying to divorce themselves from MAGA crowd right now. And this guy's got a Pierre Poilievre MAGA hat. Make Canada great again. Maple MAGA, right?
No.
Except, here's the funny thing. Like, oh, look at who's this? Who's this? Oh, look at that. Who's that? Oh, yeah. Who's that? That would be the campaign manager, Jenny Byrne. Huh.
Yeah. Wearing a Make America Great hat. At least he had Make Canada Great Again.
Yeah, at the very least. Right?
Right. So, yeah. And here we go. The proof, right? They won't let a guy in with a Make Canada Great Again cap.
Mm-hmm.
But they let all those people in with the hoodies. Do you believe the polls?
And F. Carney and F. Trudeau and that.
Right.
Do you believe the polls? Yeah, actually, I do.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit about them. You know that. But, yeah. I
So-
believe the polls because the numbers are there.
Right. So we have Pierre, and then somebody else has been changing their tune. We're going to go to the next one because I know that you have to go, Mr. Grizzly, soon. And I just want to show this clip before you do. Mr. Singh has also been changing his tune. A lot of journalists have noticed that Mr. Singh is no longer saying that he's running to be prime minister, but asked about it, that if he was allowed to be prime minister, given the votes of the country, he would be honored. So that's a switch. He seems to have been pivoting as well to the now this is a little early for this pivot, but it could be good in terms of laying some real estate depending on how the debates go. But if the debates go really well for Carney, and then we see a post-debate surge where the Conservatives drop even more and the Liberals are going way over, like from 201 to 200 seats to 215 seats or something like that.
Wow.
And it looks like, and like the debates 17th and 18th, and now we're starting early voting, right? So some of the votes will be locked in, not just the anticipatory voting that if you're just going to your return office like we can all do right now, but the actual specific days set aside for advanced voting.
Yeah, just just before we hit, I got my card in the mail just the other day.
Yes.
So I can either go on election day or I can go on the 17th and 18th, just over here at Bethel Field House in behind the Elgin Beer Project. For those of you who might not be aware, there's a Fisher Park. I think it's Fisher Park, Bethel Field House in the park right on Frank Street there. So
yeah,
I think I'm going to go to the early poll so that on election day I can just chill.
Yeah, the early polls I think will go from the 17th to the 21st, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, the election day is
with nothing on the 20th, I believe.
The election day is at Jack Purcell, so I mean it's even closer on election day. But I'm like, I'll go early and get it done.
Yeah,
and not worry about it. Let's play this clip.
All right, busy morning on the campaign trail. We're going to go now to Saskatoon. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh has been speaking. Let's listen.
What that means for them. I'm worried about their lives and their communities. And so it's a time now that we've got to double down and strengthen the things that make us Canadian, that make us who we are. So we believe in strengthening healthcare and investing in healthcare, and most importantly, supporting our healthcare workers. I'm really proud that we've got nurses standing with us today because these are some of the incredible frontline healthcare workers that we need to support. But what I'm seeing more and more is Canadians are looking at the plans of the other leaders. They're seeing that the deep cuts proposed by Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives, that's not good for them. It's not good for their family. That's not good for this country. And so more and more Canadians are rejecting the Conservative cuts. Now they're taking a look at Mark Carney, and they're seeing that he's sadly talking about cuts as well. He's repeated that he would cut. He said again and again that his plan is to cut services. He has also told us where he would cut those services. He said he would cut the operating budget. And he's also defined what that means. He said what the operating budget is. He said it means healthcare. It means pensions. It means supports for people living with disabilities. It means GST and HST credits. He has defined the operating costs, and he's told us that he's going to cut them. But he hasn't told you how much. And so today we're announcing what he's going to cut is actually $43 billion in investments in you and your family. $43 billion of cuts. What does that mean for Saskatchewan? That's $300 million of cuts here in Saskatchewan, and that could be more than 3,000 nurses cut immediately. Imagine our healthcare system that is already struggling. You just heard about closures of ER rooms. A healthcare system that's struggling with 3,000 less nurses. Imagine how much worse that would be. That's what we're up against right now. That's the cost that Mark Carney is proposing. He's proposing, his plan is to cut. I think it's a wrong thing to do right now. At a time when Canadians are worried, we should be strengthening our healthcare system. We want to see less wait times, not longer. We want to see more frontline healthcare workers, not less. We want a stronger healthcare system, not a weaker one.
Yes.
And so our plan is this. We're going to fight back. If you were worried about the deep cuts of Pierre Poilievre and you want to reject conservatives, and you're also worried that Mark Carney is proposing to cut the things that you care about, vote for a New Democrat. My commitment to you as New Democrats will never support a budget that cuts the things that you need. We will never support a budget that cuts healthcare, which is such a Canadian value, the one that we hold so dear. We will never allow that to happen. We will always fight back. So if you live here in Saskatoon, vote for these incredible New Democrats. We're going to fight for you. If you live in Regina, vote for New Democrats. New Democrats beat Conservatives here in Saskatchewan. So if you want to fight back against Conservatives and say no to cuts to our healthcare, vote.
All right. So the NDP is doing what it can here in the sense that if those debates go really well for Carney and we see something, then the NDP's pitch is, well, look, see, the Liberals kind of have it in the bag. So all you New Democrats who have switched your votes to Liberals, you can come back now and make sure that, that the Liberals still win, maybe with 180 or 185 rather than 215, and then still have your 25 or so core New Democrats that are going to make sure that all this stuff goes well. Or, hey, even yet, why not? Don't trust Mark Carney just yet. Just give him a minority and don't worry like this because, and this is where the argument falls apart because we gave you dental care and pharmacare last time that we ripped up the deal before they were put in place and wanted to go into an election, and we are in an election actually before all the pharmacare deals are signed and before the extension to everyone 18 to 64 in dental care took place. So the NDP, for those who like to vote NDP, again, I understand where you are on policies and like that, but this is not it. Right? This is the daycare thing all over again. This is reconciliation Kelowna all over again. We get the deal, and then they do something to make sure that it doesn't happen or fall in place, and then they campaign for the next 10 years and say, well, the Liberals keep on saying they're going to get it done, but they didn't get it done. They didn't get it done the first time because you stopped it. The Liberals actually got it done twice now.
Yes.
On daycare, right? So, and you're sitting there and going, well, Mark Carney won't change anything on pharmacare. He's just going to leave it as it is. We need to add to that. Well, we would probably be more inclined to believe you if you stuck around long enough to make sure that all 10 provinces had at least the first bit. Right? You were willing to sacrifice that by going into an election. So the amount that you can stand up and say, we defend it, like, okay, you put these things on the agenda, whatnot, that's great. And then we get to the point where we discuss them. And then when they're just about to happen, you bail on them. Somehow you find a reason, but then you keep still blaming the Liberals for your decisions. So Jagmeet Singh has a problem there. Jagmeet Singh also has a problem in this announcement would have gone much better had the NDP actually produced their costed platform first. The NDP wants you to believe that they are able to cost Mark Carney's platform before that they can cost their own. They're claiming that it will be $43 billion in cuts because Mark Carney said that he was going to make bring the operational budget in balance within 3 years, but the other budget where we're going to build and invest in that type of stuff, big capital projects, that one, of course, is going to make a deficit, which means that we will have annual deficits when you put them both together, right? But he's sitting there and he's going, we calculated this at being 43 billion over the next 3 years. He's going to have to cut. Now, Mark Carney said he would cut. So let's see, 43, that amount, Saskatchewan, well, that could be 3,000 nurses. That's terrible. The healthcare system would fall apart. Well, of course, nobody would, well, maybe a conservative would, but wouldn't try to get all of that savings just on nurses in Saskatchewan, period. Right? Mark Carney has that 43 billion, if that is, to cut over a space of 3 years over all 10 provinces and 3 territories over everything that Canada does. Nobody's got, so that it's lame and it's weak. Because you would have to assume that the person governing is the cruelest person in the world, saying, hey, we need to save $43 billion. Just cut all the nurses in Saskatchewan.
When did Carney say he will cut health care?
He didn't.
Exactly.
And then reiterated.
Actually, he said the opposite of that.
Exactly. Reiterated that he would not cut transfers. Now, he may not increase them by a lot, which de facto is a cut when you have population growth. in terms of real numbers per person. Yes, but he's not going to cut. He hasn't given us a full. So, in fairness to the NDP, he hasn't given a full-throated endorsement saying that I will maintain healthcare spending at 8% for every provinces every year, whatnot, because that's going to make it very hard to balance the operational budget, given that we have an aging population, right?
Yes.
So, but hey, he is a good banker. Maybe he's the one that might be able to get the provinces to actually report back on what they spend. Finally, to make sure that the money that we actually are spending actually goes there, because that's not happening either. A lot of seepage money just going other places.
Just disappearing. Well, how many billions in the province of Ontario went missing from federal transfer payments, federal transfers for COVID? 2 billion, 4 billion, something like that. It's just missing. Strange how that happens.
Yeah.
So you got a spare billion that you could loan me till next week?
Right. So not the strongest attack, not the strongest foundation, didn't put the building blocks there for it to work to have maximum effect. But again, Jagmeet is doing what he can, seeing where things are going, hoping that it looks like it's going to be a Liberal majority, hoping that Poilievre gets squashed in the debates, where he can then turn around and say, create the permission structure for NDP voters to come back to the party, to come back home. We're not going to get Poilievre. Don't have to worry about it. So you don't all have to migrate en masse. So it's a strategy. It depends on a couple of things happening. Could work for him. I mean, he's playing a bad hand the best he can. I will give him that. Yes. But again, we just might be in a situation where it's leadership and it's Trump and it's sovereignty and nothing else matters. And if it is, he is a victim of circumstance, clearly, because all of this is not just him. But if we're being honest also, he didn't have the most stellar performance as an opposition party leader this time around, and ended it terribly. And then just seems to be 3 months behind on everything every time he finally does decide to pivot. It's a pivot he needed to do 3 months earlier.
Right.
So there is one additional thing that did happen, however, with regard to Jagmeet Singh, which is absolutely detestable and should not be tolerated in any way, shape, or form. But it seems there is a member of the Saskatchewan party in the legislature, MLA Tajinder Gruel. Sorry, no, that's not the person's name. Sorry, Raquel Hilbert. Basically labeled Jagmeet Singh as a terrorist.
The Saskatchewan Sikh community says this was not simply a misstatement from the floor of the legislature.
And every Sikh resident of Canada that has heard about it is feeling the hurt, because nobody, not, and especially not someone who's been elected to elected to an office, should be calling another elected official a remark like terrorist.
The community is deeply concerned about what Saskatchewan Party MLA Raquel Hilbert called the federal NDP leader.
We did not hear the opposition denounce their federal leader as being a terrorist in India and denounce the collateral trade damage to Western Canada.
Hilbert has since apologized, but concerns prevail.
But now members of Saskatchewan Sikh community are shocked, hurt, and scared by the comments made by that member. The Premier hasn't said a word about these hateful comments. Will he rise, show some leadership, and condemn the member and the horrible comments she made?
The Premier has accepted his member's apology.
Yesterday, we saw both publicly and on the floor of this assembly, the member from Humboldt Watrous had rose and made and commented that the comments that she had made in her speech from the throne were inaccurate and they're inappropriate, Mr. Speaker.
The Sikh community not only wants the MLA removed from the government caucus, but a clear statement from the Premier's office denouncing hate speech. It is also recommending that all members of the legislature receive cultural competency training.
Cultural competency training. I've not heard that before. I've heard of cultural sensitivity training, but cultural competency training is, I think that's an interesting way to frame it, and also a good one, because it's just teaching you the basics, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's got to go.
Yeah, she's got to go. And here's the thing that annoys me here. Party leaders, and this applies to Mark Carney when Paul Chang apologized too. It's not up to you to accept the apology.
That's correct. Yeah. It's not up to you.
I mean, if they're apologizing for the damage they caused to your party by making this, like, then fine. But that's not an apology you accept on behalf of Jagmeet Singh.
No, you do not.
Right? She said it. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. No. You needed to be sorry when you had the thought pop into your head. So, oh my God, I'm a terrible person for thinking that. Jeez, wipe that out. But no, you thought it, you put it on paper, then you showed up in the legislature, and then you read it.
Just insane. I do have to run. I got to roll because I'm tight on the timeline here, but I'll put this back up on the screen here. Before I go, on Fridays, I usually go for a pint, but I'm only having one today. Just one.
Just one.
It's a liter.
Jeez.
It's from CFB Chatham. Ever prepared. There's the logo there. You can sort of see it.
There you go.
Yeah. Just to let everybody know, there is going to be a podcast tomorrow. We forgot.
Yeah.
I put the promo at the end yesterday, but we didn't actually make the formal announcement. So yeah, we'll have a podcast tomorrow, starting around 1 p.m. ish. Hopefully, usually there's some delays tech wise, to get things sorted and ironed out because it's a lot of gear that I bring on the road for on the road. I know it's close to where I live, but it's a lot of gear. I got to cart over, unpack, set up, and test out. So we're going to try and be live for 1 p.m. We'll have a good time. I'm going to send out some invites later today to folks who can join us. Anybody who wants to pop in for a little bit and hang out with us for an afternoon. And probably going to be on the Guinness Zero tomorrow because I have a lot to do on Sunday. A lot to do. But yeah, I got to go.
All right.
Folks, take care.
And I'm in the production suite today, so I can log off.
Yes, you can. Yeah. Well, we got everything all squared away now. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yay.
I'll see you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Grizzly, and hope that you have a wonderful evening. And I'm definitely looking forward to Pubcast, which should be able to start on time with regard to if we have all the tech right, because this week, or this month, I should say, I will not be coming into town on the day of the Pubcast, but I will be going in this evening, which makes it such that I will actually be waking up in town rather than having to travel, which means that I'll be able to get there in time. Because when I travel, the earliest I'm able to get there is about 2 p.m., unless I want to leave at 5 something in the morning, which I don't on a Saturday. I wake up early enough as it is 5 days a week. But yes, Pubcast, fun and merriment for all. So please do join us tomorrow. We very much look forward to seeing you. All right. Before we end up the show here. So just to finish off the previous bit with Mr. Singh and this MLA, there has to be more. There just has to be more. Tajinder Gruwal, NDP critic for advanced education, said he's been on the phone constantly with members of his community following the leader post's original story. He called Hilbert's comments, quote, hate speech before asking a similar question to Moat, but on behalf of the Sikhs in Saskatchewan. Quote, why does the member who spreads such hate continue to sit in the government caucus? He asked during question period. Mo again rose to his feet and reiterated Hilbert's apology, saying her comments, quote, were inaccurate and highly inappropriate. Gruel responded, that apology's not good enough. Following question period, Gruel said there is considerable hurt in the community. Right? Quote, calling someone a terrorist, just being Sikh is very hateful. It's hate speech, he said. She should not be in that chamber. She should not be in the government or caucus. Gruel said the premier needs to, quote, show some leadership and that the community demands it as the story travels outside Saskatchewan and around the world. The World Sikh Organization of Canada strongly condemned Hilbert's words, also issuing a call for her to be removed from any committee assignments while also receiving anti-racism and cultural sensitivity training. Quote, WSO believes that Ms. Hilbert should face consequences for her hateful remarks, states a WSO press release issued Thursday. Quote, Hilbert's comments are reprehensible and parrot disinformation being pushed from India in order to malign Sikhs and suppress legitimate criticism. As part of the statement, the WSO also took issue with how Speaker Todd Gowdy addressed the accusations levied by Hilbert. Quote, we are particularly disappointed that the Speaker of the Legislative Assembly did not censure Hilbert for her inflammatory remarks. This lack of accountability sets a disturbing precedent. At the very frickin' least, she should be censured. Hilbert did not speak with reporters on Wednesday or Thursday despite requests. I wonder why. Unbelievable. Speaking Wednesday to reporters in Richmond, BC, Jagmeet Singh said Hilbert's comment, quote, was clearly a lie and asked, what happened in this MLA's life for them to say that about me? Ouch. The federal leader said he was worried about the underlying bias that motivated Hilbert to make that comment and how it impacts young people in Saskatchewan. Quote, what does it say to them when an elected official of the province is lying about somebody else, calling them a negative term like that? Singh asked. Wow. Yeah. So again, just people wanting to say whatever to get clicks. I am going to be gracious and accept that the person who said this does not have this in their heart and instead was just thinking that they were being clever or that was a cool way to get some clicks or get some attention or get on the news. But because I like to not first assume the worst of others. But this is not, it's not acceptable behavior in any way. In any way, shape, or form at all. So yeah, pretty sad that this happens and pretty sad that this has to be the case. But, well, I mean, it doesn't have to be the case. I should say pretty sad that this is indeed the case. Some people, I swear. All right, kits and cubs. I think we have a show. Do you? Okay. Kits and cubs. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot to do this. I should probably go and see here in the chat, see if the kits had anything to say about this. Look in here. I'm sure there are, but I can't see anything right now based where I am in the chat. Just wanted to get to some kits comments in here if I was able to, but it seems not here. Let's see. There we go. Nope. Nothing for you. Nothing here. Okay. Well, I'm sure. There we go. Kit Carol, there has to be bigger consequences. Kit J. Crick, you can't teach competence to incompetent people. Kit Kat here going, Singh will never get his voters back. He screwed up so badly they are gone. Yeah, probably here with regards to that. Like I said, unless there's something major. Kit Sandy saying she should go. Kit Tabby G, racism is rampant in Canada. Stop trying to say it doesn't exist and address it. Educate. Yes. Yes, indeed. The kits. The kits. Kit Saucy, anything saying that needs to be removed. You get it. You get it. I don't have to. I know I'm preaching to the choir here because, you know, our kits and cubs are people of discerning taste and higher standard. And they expect that from their elected officials. And in this case, they did not get it. So thank you, kits and cubs. I had no doubt whatsoever that you would see that the same way. Okay. That's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver Morning Show. We hope that you love listening to us because we love making this for you. Remember, sharing is caring and word of mouth is priceless. So please tell your peeps and poops all about us. We really love it when you do. And it does help us out a lot. And we're seeing a lot more of you actually repost shows and not just repost them or just like them, but repost them while writing something when you repost them and giving us a recommendation saying, you know, that we're a quality show or we're a good source of information, a good source of analysis, or that, we're just fun to listen to, that we have we deliver it with a side of sass or something. But all of those comments that you put out, really, I mean, I don't think I'm going out on a limb here, speaking for Mr. Grizzly as well, but it really just does warm our hearts so much when we see that you believe that what we do has value, and you let us know that it resonates with you. So we are extremely, extremely grateful for all the help that you are doing to help us promote the show in all the ways that you do. Thank you so very much for that. Now, if you would like to make sure that you do not miss an episode in podcast form, our ears-only version of the show, because, hey, we know that a lot of you don't join us on YouTube or would like to listen to us while you're on the go, riding the bus or in the car, or even while you're at home making a meal. Just, put the little podcast on you while you're chopping stuff up to make a beautiful stew or a lovely soup. We like to keep you company. So for all of you who listen to us on podcast form and don't want to miss an episode, that QR code that just appeared will bring you to our Podpage site, which is sponsored by the Ray Girl. Now, if you're listening, you take those digits on those lovely hands, or you use your voice prompt to go to podpage.com/the-true-north-eager-beaver with a hyphen between each one of those words. And when you go there and click subscribe, when we have something fresh off the bandwidth, it comes directly to you. You don't even have to go searching. It's that easy. Now, if you would like to help us in other ways, kids and cubs, well, hey, we do have plenty of other ways. And one of those ways is by smashing with our buttons on our YouTube page. Grab your surfboard and get on down to the True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube page, where our 3 buttons, like, share, and subscribe. They're saucy, they're flirty, they're fun. Click on them. It makes us happy when you do, and it helps us with the algorithm. So thanks a lot for that, eh? Now, if you'd like to help us in yet other ways, kids and cubs, well, this QR code that's going to appear and replace the YouTube QR code, which is right there, in just a moment, like this. Magic. I love it. We'll bring you to the Emergency Hydration Fund here at the Beaver Lodge, where every day we fight against the scourge of dry beaver. Yum, yum. Definitely cannot have dry beaver. So if you would like to take care of your patriotic duty and make sure that you keep your favorite beaver moist, well, hey, how about a little jingle in our tip jar? That makes us also very happy. Why not offer me an Atta Beaver hot chocolate, or Mr. Grizzly and Atta Grizzly Guinness, or cup of coffee? One or the other. Guinness 02. Hey, the podcast is coming. Why not pre-treat? Seriously. But if you do like what we do and want to encourage us to do more, then please scan the QR code or go to Coffee. That's coffee, ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, all in one word. And if you could make a little donation there, we would be really, really, really grateful. And give a little shout out to Kit Wendy, who gave us a nice donation yesterday. Thank you so very much. I don't have your comment in front of us, so I won't be able to read it in. But hey, that means bonus for you, because we will mention you a second time when we have the opportunity and actually read your comment into the record. But we thank you for your generous donation. Anybody else who can help, we would be very, very grateful. But we do know that times are getting tight and people are a little uncertain economically with what they want to do with their money. So if you're keeping your powder dry for the moment, or if you've got some family things to take care of, hey, that's okay. We're good with that. We understand that times are tough. And however, please do keep on giving us the gifts of your attention and participation, because they are the ones that matter most to us. And we love to hear from you. So please write to us at truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com and let us know what you think of the show. As well, for those of you who asked for a Q&A session, if you want us to answer your political questions or questions about how the show runs or anything that you would like to know about that, get our views, please send us your questions to truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com. And once we have enough of them, we will indeed make that show for you. But you need to write in and send your questions for that to happen. All right. Thank you so very much for that. And if you would like to as well, make sure if you're sending a donation that we get 100% of your donation, and it's a 100% Canadian transaction and doesn't help any of the US CE tech bros out there, well then truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com is our email address, and that's to where you can send a direct bank transfer to keep everything 100% Canadian. And we really appreciate that. Thank you so very much. If you also want to let us know what you're thinking, you can reach us on our socials at the Blue Sky Beaver Lodge, at True Eager, also at the Bad Place, at True Eager. You can reach us on our Facebook page, which is our original home on the web, True North Eager Beaver. Or if you happen to be listening on our YouTube channel, hey, right down here in the comment section, let us know what you think. We read everything, but we're not able to get back to everyone. But trust that everything you said does go back to the show and helps to make it better. I need to stop tripping over my own tongue. Because democracy is something that you do, kids and cubs. Well, hey, we have a Quebec Liberal leadership race coming up in June. So make sure that you are registered. If it's not too late to register there, I need to go back and check the dates for that, and that you're following your candidates so that you can vote. Same thing in Manitoba for the Progressive Conservatives. Registration date there is closed, but your mail-in ballot date has to be in by April 22nd, and that's coming up. So make sure you get it in there if you're participating, with the results to be announced on the 26th, 2 days before the federal election, and we will bring those results to you when they do come in. And of course, well, with the federal election, of course, research your candidates, a phone bank, knock on doors, or volunteer at an Election Canada's polling station. Those are paid positions, by the way. When we say volunteer, they are paid positions. So if you're looking for a little extra cash, that might be an opportunity for you. And it's a very, very rewarding time. It's hard work. It's a long day, but it is very rewarding. You leave the day feeling so good about yourself, good about your fellow Canadians, and good about the country. It's very inspiring. I recommend everybody do it at least once in their life, either provincially or federally. It's a beautiful exercise to see democracy in action in that way. And of course, most importantly, kids and cubs, plan your vote. Go to elections.ca, look at how to vote, look at all the voting dates. Let's get your vote in early if you can, if you don't want to deal with the lines on voting day itself. Some people like to go on voting day and, get the feel and the atmosphere and all that kind of stuff. And absolutely, it's well worth it. But for those of you who want to go early, please do. And of course, the most important thing, because we need really high turnout this time, to send a message to the United States. So please tell your friends that you're voting. Please tell them that you're excited about voting. Please, make a vote party, a vote event, to have an activity before or an activity after. Go out for coffee, go see a movie together, do something, but, have a dinner party after. But make it fun and involve friends and family, because friends don't allow friends to do democracy alone, right? Democracy is something that you do, and it's more fun to do it in a group than to do it by yourself. Words of wisdom. I'm going to keep it really light today, kids and cubs, because we got podcasts coming. So even though there's a lot of politics going on, odds are activity might go down a little bit on the weekend. So take the opportunity for a breather and to do something, not politics, for a little bit, right? We can't all just be our political identities. We are well-rounded people. So do something not politics for yourself and nourish your soul a little bit. All right? That's my words of wisdom. Because democracy is something that, I went back and was repeating myself. And what I meant to say is, kids, it could be a tough world out there. So please be kind to and gentle with yourself. And I will definitely start by being kind with myself. But sincerely, be good to yourself. Join us for podcasts tomorrow. Can't wait to see you. We'll have some fun and just have some good old pub chat. All right? But until then, do be kind to and gentle with yourself, and have a most beaverific weekend. Okay, now, one thing, kids and cubs, if you noticed, the little QR codes and all that kind of stuff went up and down really easily because I'm in the full production suite on the main computer and don't have to look for tiny buttons on the phone. So this, I assume, will make it a little easier to stick the landing from now on. But hey, let's give it a go, because Again, new interface. Let's see if I can do it. I know you have faith in me. So, hey. You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, their uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. We are grateful to the Crier Media Network for its support, Pete Jarvis for our artwork, and Paul Joseph Something for our opening and closing sequence music. Some Cubs. Just one little Easter egg before we go, because as you know, my beaver sweetie is into science. So when I see anything having to do with science and science policy and that type of stuff, it catches my attention. In the Science Advisor of April 9th, and this didn't get picked up too much by Canadian media here, but I found it and I wanted to put it in. In Canadian election, top Conservative candidate vows to end, quote, woke ideology in science funding. Yeah, not particularly impressive here. But yes, he has pledged to end the imposition of woke ideology in the allocation of federal funds for university research. That's a quote, should his party win the federal election on April 28th. This here is not a very good move. There's a group called E4D that recently launched a nonpartisan campaign called Vote Science to try to put science research and evidence-informed decision-making at the center of the election campaign. Quote, we don't often hear much about science at election times, so the goal is to empower Canadians to ask questions about science, engage with their local candidates about science issues so that we can hold them accountable. The campaign includes a summary of what is known about where each party stands on science issues, resources for writing letters to candidates, and a science pledge that asks candidates to support the integrity of science, strengthen its role in policymaking, and invest in research funding. So far, 5 candidates have signed up. This is as of April 9th. So I am going to include a link here in the chat for those of you who would like to go to the Vote Science page and find out a little bit more about this. I do strongly encourage you to do it, kits and cubs. Yes, indeed, Kit Elaine, Kit Tavi, another Trumpian move. Yeah, indeed. Indeed. But please do go there because one of the essential policies of Mark Carney, when he's saying that we are, we're going to build Canada out. I haven't heard anybody talk about this yet, but we need to do it for the sciences as well, right? We are hearing stories about American scientists and researchers and academics coming to Canada, Timothy Snyder being the most famous one so far. If that name rings a bell, he's the one, I believe is at Harvard, and wrote the book on tyranny, specifically that everything has been, everybody's been talking about lately, the whole concept of a do not obey in advance. If you've been hearing that, that's one of the chapters of that book. So he's an American historian specializing in history of Central and Eastern Europe, the Soviet Union, and the Holocaust. And very, very well respected. Sorry, not at Harvard, but at Yale he was. And he's announced that he's coming to Canada, as many other researchers have done. So if we are going to build Canada stronger and build Canada strong, that does mean much more academic funding for science and research, because it's not only, right, science is not only about building a better economy is not only about the resources or whatnot, but it's also about, it's not only about AI too. It's about IP, intellectual property, patents, all that good stuff. And the more scientists and the more inventors and researchers and whatnot that we have in Canada, the better it will be. But we are notoriously bad at funding them, and we are notoriously bad at taking their discoveries and then trying to find some market applications for them. So if we could put the money into that, making sure that our post-secondary education system is well funded, and that research, academic research, pure sciences and social sciences and all the other things are really well topped up, and we attract those big names and we give them the funding to do their work and to bring on students, there's nothing that will be able to stop us. But we have to do it, and we have to make it a priority. All right? Got to make sure that all the building blocks are taken care of. Okay, that was my Easter egg. Kids and Cubs, once again, have a beaverific weekend, and see you at Pubcast. Bye, everyone.